Whoa, it's the Illusion reporting from somewhere on Spaceship Earth. I'm up here in Oxnard, California, doing an early morning surf check. We have a full moon over there, getting ready to set. We got a full sun over there, getting ready to rise. The tide is super high and the swell is fading, so we're out. We're calling it good. There's snow on the mountains over here from the storm that came through the other day. It's a positive vibe. It's funny. So today I don't know, I woke up and I'm like everybody else, right? Kind of suddenly had financial fears for a second. Just tried to project out what was going on, and I don't know, I was sitting there just kind of thinking about it, but like not really attached. I've learned not to really attach to anything in that department, because that's all denial of God's grace. I know it sounds, to those who haven't crossed that bridge, it sounds like kind of trite, like, yeah, what do you mean? But like truly, when you plug into God and you understand financial realities, everything works. It's all going to be okay. Just gotta believe, man, in abundance. So I know not to attach to this thought pattern, which was building in my head at 6 o'clock this morning. And I'm driving down the 101 freeway, and you're heading west there, and the full moon's just staring at me, completely just staring me in the eye. And I just fully realized how ridiculous it is. The moon is, I don't know what's up with the moon, is the more and more I observe the moon, the more and more I look at the moon, the more comical it is. It really is Truman-esque when you look at it. And for me now, when it's truly looks ridiculous is when it's full. I'm looking at it right now. It's part of why it looks ridiculous is for two reasons. Is one, that when you look at that and it doesn't convince you that you're not living in the most fantastic, crazy, far out, just miracle of life. Like, I think I look at that, I'm looking at it right now, and I don't feel like the true Buck Rogers of it all. Like, just think about it. Like, we're on a planet. There's supposedly some other rock that spins around us that makes the tides come and go and does all sorts of stuff. And then there's some big burning ball of thermonuclear energy that's going to rise over there that warms everything up. And that's pretty radical. Like, fantastic. I'm sitting here driving in a car. But what I mean about it's ridiculous is the lack of wonder about it and the true understanding of it. Just, I don't know, man. I don't know what I'm even trying to say. I guess what I'm trying to say is, the more and more I look at it and am not amazed by it, the more and more I'm amazed by it. And it's the amazement has shifted. When I was younger, I used to fully stare at the stars and the moon and just think about just the fantastic potential of reality. And now when I look at the moon and the stars and the stuff, I sort of realize that we don't live up to that at all as human beings. That we're not truly striving for any sort of relationship with the moon or our reality, that when you look at the moon, you should ask more questions, not less. But it just floats up there, and everybody's just like, yeah, whatever. And I find myself doing that. And that's what amazes me, is my unamazement by it now. Because the more and more you look, the more and more you look at the moon, the more and more you realize there's more questions to be asked, not less. How is that? It's just all perfectly round up there, just reflecting the sun's light back on us. Or is it? Is it hollow? Is it really two-dimensional? Is the earth flat? I don't know. I don't really care. And I think that might be part of the problem in that sense. I guess when I was younger, it was all about that. Like the mystery of outer space, like we're going to space, and that's all been dashed. I don't feel like we're living on a planet full of like explorers anymore. I guess when I grew up, there was still like the spirit of pioneering realms beyond our understanding. Now it's just sort of congealed into this blah. And it's the thing that I'm kind of getting at is it's not that it's that the asking of questions about the reality we live in is now politicized. That like you either have to be one way or the other about asking questions about that thing hanging over in the sky and its relation to that thing about to rise up over the mountains over there. And that to me is a bigger question, is why would it be like that? Why would everybody be so certain about everything? And then if you're so certain about the celestial reality that, like, all right, let's say if you take the scientists and they're like, yeah, it's this and it's that and it does this and it's that and it's science. And at the same time, you can be all like the miracle of science. Like all the scientists are like, it's a miracle, dude. We're out on this like little blue globe, like the miracle of life, it's all, and then they're just like, yeah, but God doesn't exist, dude. Like, I guess that's where I'm at. It's either all a miracle or none of it's a miracle. You can't have like, it's a full like miracle, like scientific, like anomaly, or it's the gobbledygook of it all. Because when I look at the moon with God in my heart, like I'm like, wow, man, this is so Buck Rogers. This is such a far out, wild experience down here. Like, oh my goodness, we're on this just little blue ball floating in some like crazy cosmos of just spinning orbs and just this dance with the universe that God's graced us with the plants and the animals and the bees and the whole thing. And then there's just this scientific thing where it's like, yeah, whatever, bro. There's no God. Prove to me that God exists. And I'm like, how can you look at the moon, whether it's real, flat, fake, a reflection, whatever, and not just be like, wow, man, this is all a miracle. This everything I'm witnessing, this 18-wheeler I'm driving by, it's all a miracle, dude. It's incredible, dude. Like, that's what I mean. the scientific method of understanding reality almost contradicts itself so radically it fries the brain. And I'm doing a really bad job of trying to articulate what I'm talking about. Is with God all things are possible, and it all totally makes sense. Like the ability of science to explain stuff, and all of it makes sense with God and the concept of the miracle of life. None of it makes any sense with just science. See, science to me makes sense in God's light. Totally makes sense with God. And I think that's why I've always been amazed by like science and astronomy and geology and all these things, because with them they prove to me the existence of God or a higher power, the miracle of life. And yet the people that come up with all this science and theory and numbers and whatever, they don't truly believe that it's a miracle, so it contradicts their own numbers. That's what I'm getting at. You can't be a person promoting like DNA, for example. Like, you can't be a scientist talking about DNA and just be like, this isn't proof that God exists. Like, DNA to me proves the existence of God. And yet the science are just like, yeah, but they're not even amazed at their own thing. I guess that's what so when I go there, when I stay in the earthly realm, it's all pretty blasé. Like, yeah, whatever, dude. Whatever. Doesn't matter. There's gotta be, I don't know what I'm getting at. The universe is contained in a mustard seed. Think about that, man. Think about the quantum mechanics that God lays out in that one passage from the Bible. And then get back at me and tell me you stare at the moon and you don't want to ask questions. I guess it's pretty easy not to ask questions when you're just sitting at home waiting for the government to save you, dude, right? Scientists will save you, dude. It's science. That's like all those people like running around like, science this, science that. I'm like, yeah, the science tells you this is a miracle, that this is a totally something bigger is going on here. The science actually proves the existence of God if you just remove their dumbed down version of it. The scientists are truly stupid from what I can tell. Like, that's why I like the scientists that are actually like God-based scientists, because they truly understand that science doesn't disprove God. Science totally proves God. And the more and more you dig into science and understanding the miracles of science, the more and more God exists. And yet science itself is this big trying to disprove God thing. And it's like, it's so, I think that's why part of the whole thing's collapsing right now is that contradiction right there. I think it's super obvious with this whole coof thing is that the science doesn't actually believe in science, because if they were truly about science, we wouldn't be doing what we were doing. Like, it's ridiculous. And you see that all around you. So like, they're discrediting. Why would they be discrediting science right now, right? Because they need to discredit science in a fundamental conceptual way, because science proves God's existence. Yeah, I'm kind of getting a little clearer what I'm trying to get at here. Science actually proves God's existence. So when they're doing this whole thing where they're like the science and this and that, and you can go look at all their scientific numbers. If you go look at how they lay out science as a lot of numbers, right? You go look at their numbers the scientists are putting out. It totally like makes you go like, well, the science says we're doing it all wrong. The science says that what we're doing right now, handling the coof, is ass backwards. And yet they'll do the ass backwards approach and scream science all day long. And I'm like, it just suddenly dawned on me, just like in this video, like why they're doing that. Oh, I got you. It's to discredit science, because science proves God exists, and they don't want anyone to know that God exists. So they got to speak, because science, no matter, the more science explores the reality we're in, the more and more it proves God's existence. Trippy, right? It's not even pretzel logic. That's the thing, is it's their weird scientific science thing, and how they're handling like this giant worldwide situation is so pretzel logic and irrational and ass backwards that it discredits science. And why would you want to discredit science? Because science proves God's existence. There it is. That's what I got for you today, dude. It's The Illusion signing off. Support the channel. Links down below. Get some t-shirts, get some hats, PayPal, crypto, whatever you got, man. Just empty your pockets. You gotta laugh, dude, right? You gotta laugh. And can you laugh? Because when you started this video, I was talking about one thing, and at the end, I'm making a joke about it. If you made it this far.